big threat that we have to think about right away is the knockout punch. Okay, the knockout punch is, generally speaking, going to be the leading action for most people assaulting you. If like Jeremy's here and it's like we're in an altercation, like it comes real fast, it comes as a big surprise, you know, some people call it the sucker punch or whatever. Like, spend any amount of time watching self-defense stuff online or just CCTV footage of assaults and stuff, you're going to see a big right hand come barreling down. You're going to see it knock out cops sometimes. Like, a cop will be sitting there taking down a perp's information and the perp will just suddenly, boom, like just catch him. So like, there's a lot of concern for that, and we're going to learn to kind of deal with that. And that is, there's a couple things we're going to have to think about here, which is range, and also thinking about just taking the danger seriously is kind of something that I would say is a very important part here, which is there's basic research on this, but like if you have a gut feeling that there's something wrong about the interaction you're having with someone, and you have a gut feeling that there's something dangerous about that interaction, the first thing I'm going to tell you is like talk with your hands. Have your hands in a more upward position. So like if you just tried to get close to me suddenly, like I have a much better chance of keeping him from getting a good grip on me if I have my hands here than if I have my hands down here. And this is about the worst thing in the world, okay? Like people like sometimes do this to be like tough or something. This is the worst. You will not get your hands up fast enough to stop someone from striking you, okay? So I'm talking with my hands. It's very much like ready position type stuff. I'm like, hey man, let's take it easy. Especially even if he's at a distance. And this is something we can start with that I really like, which is there's something, this will seem kind of corny, but let's start with this. This is awesome. When you walk to me, you had to force yourself through that though, right? As soon as that hand goes up, there's something in your brain that tells you should stop. It's just universally human language. When I put a hand up, you'll feel it go off inside of you, okay? Because you're all normal, okay? Not normal people feel nothing, like that. I don't know what is psychopathy or something like that. Like if you feel nothing when someone puts a hand up, something's a little off, okay? But the first thing is I just want you to feel that. What does it feel like when you walk towards someone and he puts a hand up and you go all the way to his hand? I want you to feel the internal process of that. 1, 2, 3. This is something very wrong, okay? Like, and that's a good signal. Like anytime someone, in particular, a significant red flag is when you tell someone no and they ignore no. That's a very bad sign. Most normal people will not ignore no. So like you're putting some stuff in the car at HEB or something like that, and some guy's like, hey, can I help you? And you're like, no, I got it. And he's like, no, let me help you. That's a bad sign, okay? Most people take no pretty directly as like, okay, whatever, I just want to help you. You know, like, maybe they get mad, but like, they won't usually insert themselves after a no, and that's a bad sign. So if I'm here like this, and like he's starting to come in, I would expect something to happen. Now, we've talked in other classes about like, we could go to ready position here, okay? But one thing I want you to bear in mind, as I come in, you'll see something, you'll notice it, your mind will turn on to it. It's like, you felt, your eyes went to it right away. If you see any sort of cocking back of the shoulder, expect to get hit, okay? If I see him, like he's coming in, and I see that shoulder, I'm coming in, okay? I'm not gonna wait for him to throw a big punch and see if it's a thing. I'm gonna do a helmet and crash, okay? You could just crash, that'd be okay. I prefer the helmet, just in case you were a little off, okay? So what I'm doing is, as I see that hand, oh, boom. I'm gonna go forward faster than he expects. I'm bringing 2 elbows up to block my face as I come in, okay? I don't wanna crouch over. I'm not crouching over and breaking my posture. My posture is good. I'm bending my knees, and I'm jumping like that. It's just a lateral kind of jump. I'm going into him. So everybody try this without a person. Obviously, you'll have to react quicker than this, but let's make sure you're doing the right kinds of things. I realize there's a problem. My knees bend as my elbows come up. I don't bend at my hips, okay? I bend at my knees, and I just kind of hop off my back foot. My back foot is just going to push me as I lift the top foot. Just like that, okay? Just a quick step like that. So it will have the impact. When I hit him, there should be a smack, okay? So like I see him, I see that hand go back, boom, it'll hit. Like it shouldn't be, like you're not gonna knock somebody out with that. You're not gonna knock anybody over with that either, but it should hit. It should not, I don't want it to be like this. I know you want to be nice, but like, I barely touched him or like, he starts doing stuff. I actually want to shock him a little bit. I want to get that shock value when I hit. So as I see anything cock back, I take that as he's going to hit me, okay? Because the speed with which they will hit you is just too fast. If you're waiting till the fist is barreling in, it's already going to be too late. You're going to get knocked out, okay? Give this a try, 1, 2, 3. Because of range, okay? There are danger zones in fights, all right? The most dangerous range is here. This is the most dangerous range, okay, where I can throw a big shot at him. As he gets close to me, I don't throw as big a shot, okay? Yes, I can hit him, I'm aware, okay? But like, these aren't the types of shots that knock people out. These are the types of shots that make people boo at the boxing match, right? When people get back out to this range, the crowd cheers, right? This is exciting range, right? So I don't want to leave him at this range. I see he's at this range, and I'm like trying to get myself in here away from that range. If I have a choice, I would love to instead go away from the range, okay? But you do have to bear in mind that he can run too. And me trying to run from here, he may be able to outrun me and catch me in the back of the head, okay? So I don't mind the idea of running, but like if he's already cocked and loaded and coming in, you're probably going to want to close the distance, get close to him, and hopefully take the fight to the ground. Okay, now we're going to look at a few other options here. I realize he's about to hit me. I'm coming in, okay? Now, sometimes, generally speaking, I'm looking to body lock with him. It's harder for him to start hitting me from here. But he's going to keep trying to hit you most of the time. He's going to keep trying to swing. So as I get in close, whichever arm is most forward, I'm going to just keep trying to hit me when I'm going around the back. Just simple pop under, okay? Whatever grips I had, I'm just here. I'm just going to switch from this, when I get here, to this. Just grabbing it, okay? Just getting close, connecting my chest to his chest. When I feel an arm try to swing, my knees are just buckling, okay? I'm not bending over like this. My knees buckle. I just kind of almost like lift my feet for a second, so I come down, just like that. And I'm stepping behind, and I'm gonna start taking grips behind. So that's what I want you to work on now. Jerry comes at me here, like, oh shoot, like this guy. He's really about it. That quick duck under is going to be extremely effective. I'll get behind him, it's harder for him to hit me. We've learned a lot if I have to stay in front of him, or how to fight from the body lock in front. But if I have the choice between a body lock in front and a body lock in back, I'm always going to take the body lock in the back. Give that a try. Hey. So I may get behind them. All right, now what? They say. Now what? All right. In general, if you get behind someone, it should be a high probability of winning, in my opinion. Okay, you really want to be good at, once I get behind the person, the odds of my success should be very, very high, not very, very low. And I have a couple reasons for that. If Jeremy's here, I had to do my crash, boom, go under. Now, remember that in the last 2 weeks we looked at fighting from here. It's totally possible for me to fight a good fight from here, all right? Or I can have my double lock and stuff. Be like headbutting me, sorry. But this is, and when you take on less trained people, that ability to duck under and go behind will be quite easy. They're not concerned with it, so they don't keep their arms down. If I have a more trained person, he'll like, do you know what the term whizzer? Overhook with this arm. Yeah, it's like, now I can't just duck under, okay? This is why people do something called a wizard. This is called a wizard, the wonderful Wizard of Oz, right? So why does he do that? So I can't just duck under him and go behind. But that's something that's like a trained attribute. And most people won't look to do that. They're going to look to be using their hands. He's more likely to be trying to grab my head. And as I go low, it's very hard for him to keep my head. Just don't go low at the waist. You just let yourself fall nice and low. All right. Now, when I get behind, there's some obvious advantages here. He can't punch me because I'm not in front of him, right? Like, he can't elbow me, okay? These are things that are a concern. He can even headbutt me. Yeah, as that head swings back, okay? If he's more trained, there are a few kind of reversal techniques that I want to be concerned with. But overall, I'm in a good place. And what I really want to do is be able to keep him here. That's going to be my first order of business. I'm going to prioritize that over all the throws, over all the possibilities. And what I'm going to have you do, and I know it's going to be probably challenging for a lot of you, is take a grip from behind and keep him from turning into you. I will tell you how to really make it hard for him to do that in a second, but I want you to appreciate the difficulty. I want you to try to keep him in front of you without breaking a sweat, okay? So I know you might say, but you probably got about 20 seconds of that, okay? But like, without breaking a sweat, how do you keep him in front of you? All right, that's your goal. Don't break a sweat. Don't raise your heart rate through the roof. Don't, just how can you keep him in front of you with structure, okay? Try that out for just like maybe 30 seconds each. 1, 2, 3. Imagine they're bigger and they're stronger and they don't want you behind them, okay? They're gonna fight hard to get back to the front, okay? Now, if you think about the way the body moves and bends, okay, there are certain things. So like, if Ian grabs me from behind, I want you to grab me real high. When he's high like this, and some of you have probably, we have a whole class on me being in this position and things I want to think about. From here, my hips are unobstructed. Okay? Like, and that's a simple takedown. Like, I mean, and obviously if he's a little bigger than me, I probably wouldn't do it in that way. I would do it in a slightly different way. But like, it wasn't hard for me to step behind him. If you were here for the Frankel seminar, it's just stuff like this against someone bigger than me. That's, you know, I can do that against anybody in the world, right? So, but what was it? My hips could move, right? Because my hips could move, I could do just about anything I wanted, right? Now, it's not, it may seem like, let's say superficially, he's down here and he's controlling my hips just from here. Yeah. Still though, I've got a lot of movement. Easy for me to come over the top, easy for me to rotate. We have to understand what doesn't allow the body to rotate very well. And that's these hip crests here, the iliac hip crest, okay? So I'm gonna put my forearm on a crest, my forearm on a crest, and I take a grip like this. And now from here, when he tries to turn, head over the top, move your hips out to the side. It's very hard, right? Because this doesn't move well, okay? This is the part of my body with like the least mobility. So feel your hips. You'll feel like a bony protrusion there, okay? Everybody's got it. When you grip him, I want you to have that bony protrusion poking into your forearm, okay? Here. Then grip-wise, I don't really care. Depending on the size of the person, just try to fasten it. You can also grip and like grip your own fist. All of that's fine, but just make sure you are tight around their waist. So like, if I grip Jeremy, from here, here, like I feel those connections to those bones, and I grip like, and here I have like a kind of butterfly grip here. That's the size of his width, okay? When I go with, Rachel's a little smaller. So I'm here like, that doesn't seem quite enough. Maybe I'll reach down my arms a little longer, closer to like my elbows or something. Because I want to make sure I'm taking away space. If he's a little bigger, maybe I'll come all the way out to just being like a C-clamp like this. Okay, not a C-clamp, but S-grip, okay, something like this. So, but I need to adhere to their body, okay? I don't want to leave a bunch of space where they can move around. So I just take a grip, but make sure that crest is driving into your forearm, okay? And then you feel when they try to move, it's hard work. 1, 2, 3. So I'm gonna make sure I got that tight seal. The other thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put my head right in like the middle of his back, okay? I just wanna like kind of test. If he goes to touch me with an elbow, and of course I can move, right? But I don't want to be here where it's like, when he goes to hit me with an elbow, he hits me. These blows are not going to knock you out, by the way. I'm not that worried about them in some sense, but I don't want to take unnecessary damage, okay? For me, what's more concerning than him hitting me here is him going over the top and getting a headlock, okay? Does that make sense? So like, I'm not that concerned about this totally knocking you out, but it's not going to feel well. It's not going to feel good. But the closer my head strays out here, and he can start getting over the top, this is bad news for me, okay? So I'm here, I'm connected, my head is in the middle, and the other thing I'm going to do is look at my hips. The further I get away, this is why I start to feel looser, right? Does it feel looser, Larry? Yes, good. I'm going to bring my hip up to him. Okay? You feel like this moves you around the mat. There's an undeniability to that, right? Like, so I don't want my hips out here like this. I'm gonna bring my head in, and I'm just gonna start moving my hips to him, okay? And now I'm like very attached to him, and it starts to really, like, it just pushes you around. I'm not really trying to push him. I keep moving with him as it moves him. But otherwise, I don't have like an active thing in my mind that I'm like, I need to move him around. But every time you are forced to step, it costs a lot of energy, okay? Any forced step will cost the other person energy. Does that make sense? Like, give it a try. It will allow you to dominate someone, okay? So if I have Jeremy here, I got behind him, I get my grips. If I put my chin down and I try to connect to you, it's not that heavy, right? As my chin goes up and my chest goes forward, I have chest and ear connected. How does that feel?
Like a baby.
Yeah. So like where my chin goes is going to make a big difference. And it's just basic body structure, right? Like picture you want it to be strong. You wanted to lift a lot of weight like this. Would you want your chin up? Or would you want it, like if I put my chin down, this is like me like breaking my neck with a lot of weight. Chin up, but now I'm strong, okay? So when I connect, chin is up, ear is connected, and this is opening my chest, and I'm pulling my elbows back to my own hip crest now, okay? I have this grip, my elbows are trying to connect with my own hips, and it becomes very, very strong. Very disorienting for the opponent, right? 1, 2, 3. I'm actually pretty happy to just run people down for a while and make them very tired, okay? I don't really concern myself with like, when I get behind people, I'm no longer into quick execution. I'd actually rather tire you out a little bit because making people step is to me the best way to make someone tired. Forced steps. Okay. So one of the things I'm going to do. I'm here and I start to connect them. You feel how I'm like sucking you back in as I move forward. I will start to step a little bit this way. And then I'll start to step a little bit that way. And when I do it, I think of it as like Jeremy's hip crests are like buttons on a controller. So I will push one a little more. Maybe swap that way. And then I'll push one the other way. Force them to step, okay? If I really want to, I can ratchet the elbows up, trying to get them almost like 90. So I can be like, And that will very often just take people over, just from doing that. You feel the difference, right? Like, so I'm on it, I push a little, and I start to force him this way, okay? He has to move that way. There's nothing he's just not gonna be strong enough to stop that. And whenever I feel like he's getting to like really heavy on one side, I'll go, and I really will ratchet that up. I wanna get my elbows like perpendicular to the floor, and I will start to drive him down. You can do it with just your hands. I'm gonna show you after that a way to do it with my legs, where I can utilize my legs to make this very strong. 1, 2, 3, okay? Everybody stand like this. Step is going to be a circle step, like that, okay? So if I'm standing, I have like, let me get some lines so you guys can see what I did more clearly. there's a line running through the center, all right? This knee is coming back to this line, okay? So I'm with Matthew here. He's getting a good sweat trying to stay up, right? I connect to him, okay? When I activate this hip, okay, and my elbows are going to shift like that, I'm going to through my leg, okay? Matthew, you good to go for a ride? You're better than Six Flags. Okay. As you get, don't do this today, but in tournament, I would go more aggressive. I would be like double knees. Okay. That gives me more torque. It's gonna make it stronger. But I generally wouldn't. That would be like if I had 30 seconds left and I really need to score quickly. I honestly, even early on in a match, would prefer this, just because it costs me so little energy. And it gets me everything I want, okay? Until I'm forced to, I will not use energy, okay? I'll use as little energy until I have to use more, okay? But it's just a little, when I turn this down, I'm just stepping like that, okay? 1, 2, 3. So if, I was just telling Jeremy, if I were facing someone a lot bigger than me, and I get to that kind of grip, I kind of play with my food. I will just keep making them step. I'll force them to step like 10 times. I won't like aggressively try to bring them down. I'll actually let them choose when they want to come down almost. When they get too tired of stepping. So you mind if I play with my food a little? So like, this is a really good strat. You want to make people tired, right? So I'm just like, I'm not going that hard, but it's work for you, right? Yeah, and I just wait till I start feeling like, you know what I mean? Like, as I feel like if I needed to, I could just take that extra step and bring them down, then I'll bring them down. But I kind of wait till it's very easy. Does that make sense? Like, I don't really like, I'm not trying to off the first go, because people are pretty fast, they'll step. But that step costs me more. I feel like I train with Steve Horton, he's a Hall of Fame wrestler. And one of the things he makes me do all the time is step. And that was kind of a breakthrough for me in my own game, was that Steve always makes me step. And those steps exhaust me. Like, and it's like, he makes me step and step and step. And like, I've moved twice as much as I wanted to in a very short period of time. I wanted to move this much, he makes me move this much. And I'm just like, right? It would exhaust me. So I started doing that to other people, just making them step. And then everything just got easy, right? So, but let's add something here, a simple thing. As I push into people and I start pushing them around, it's very common for people to start digging their heels in to like kind of stop me from moving them around. Does that make sense? Like if I start pushing Matthew here, it's not too unexpected to me that like as I drive you forward, if you want to go forward, now we go down. Does that make sense? So like, if they'll let me keep driving them forward and I have a Mortal Kombat arena or something like that and I can drive them into some spikes or something, but like, you could conceivably too, like, if he decides to keep going forward. I think we can all agree that the world has hard shapes, right? And I can take him into the wall, okay? And like, he's pretty useless from here, right? So like, if you find a hard shape to move somebody into, by all means, move them into that shape. Does that make sense? But like, most people, especially as you see that wall, right? Yeah, you're gonna, like, you see me driving him for that wall, and yeah, he's gonna try to stop that thing. All I'm gonna do, 45-degree angle, bring him down, okay? Once I bring him down, I would have worked on this in the last one too, but like, you see how my knee is on the ground? Everyone can see that, right? Does that feel a lot worse? Yes. I just take my knees off the ground, okay? It's not a complicated thing. A lot of jiu-jitsu guys are gonna get to here, and if it's like a tournament, they wanna like come down and put the 4 points in. That's cool. In the tournament, you need to score at the last second or something. For me, if I bring you down with this, I'd rather just start putting the weight into you. And this is pretty terrible, isn't it?
It's very terrible.
It's very terrible. I don't have to work very hard to make that terrible for him. And then we can look at how to transition from there to actual attacks. 1, 2, 3. Variety of ways. When I start putting the weight onto him, he may crumble to the side right away, okay? In which case, you should be looking to like climb into a mounted position, all right? The tendency or the temptation is to want to get like a good back take here. which is fine, but you'll notice that like my weight comes off when I start trying to put hooks in, okay? So I'm not as big into that, but like, there's a couple of different positions he might land in. Let's say we're just here, and I just bring him down to like here, like that, yeah. He's square on his butt, okay? What I'm gonna do is make him do the worst forward bend of his life, right? And I'm gonna start looking to choke him. Get your arm around the, yeah, I know. Get your arm around the neck. Protect the choke arm by going over the top of it. Go to both shoulders. Just think about hugging everything to the neck. Think about your weight on him as the finishing mechanism here, more than anything else. Don't try to pull him back up. Let your weight be the thing that stops it. Okay, so I'm here, even just one-handed, as I put my weight into that, that's pretty terrible, right? Whereas a lot of people get here and now they want to come back up and try to like pull them up like that. This is not effective. I have a choking mechanism right here. And I'm just gonna put his head down into that. Does that make sense? My weight will shove his head down into the elbow, okay? Sorry, Jeremy. I'm here, and I'm just gonna put my weight.
Ready to go night-night?
Yeah. To the extent that I need to kind of, I'm gonna do that. But that weight coming in is the real thing choking you, right? Yeah. Flexible, right? 1, 2, 3.